Nnaji, if I may come in here, you've used some proverbs.
Yes.
Permit me to borrow one. A child who relates with his father, probably his father hasn't paid his fees and he's thrown out of school. What do you think he'll be screaming if he's asked, why are you not in school? Would he not say, my father hasn't paid my fees?
Very well.
Would he not say that? I haven't finished. Okay. Wouldn't he say that? That's what he would say.
Well,
my father hasn't paid my fees, so I stayed out of school. In this case, some girls have been abducted, and that state is under a state of emergency. What do you expect that Nigerians will be saying, especially when they have no other information by which to create their thought patterns by?
I will respond to that question, but let me just make a reference. When Chief Olusegun Obasanjo was president, there were certain situations, every time they say, Baba, 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 then he was so ached that he came and said, this country, anybody whose wife is in labor and is unable to deliver within 24 hours, he will say it's Baba that is responsible. I don't know whether we have that mindset because we are an unquestioning society. We are not cerebral enough. We are too sentimental that those who have hidden agenda make us more gullible. You know, we are easily able to follow them. The question about whether you have to be shouting your father. What if your father had lost his job and you knew that he lost his job? He had been consistent in paying your school fees. And he approached you. I am doing everything possible to make sure that you get back to school, that it may not be paid next week. Definitely that school fees will be paid. Would you, well, but you said it's a child. Therefore, there's no mind of his own. The child is impressionable, I believe. So, to that extent, it is not the same thing in this. This is a situation where some people contrived the situation. And early enough, they started even calling so that attention will be diverted from themselves. Do you get the point? But my only worry is, why did the presidency, those who have been recruited to defend the institution of the presidency, why are they not doing a strategic job?
How strategic?
It's not a question of coming on television to say it is not true. You have to analyze what people are saying and be able to give out information that is necessary. This is a security issue. And you know, Nigeria, we are too meretricious. We are other directed. It's only when people outside say that certain things are, they will begin to conform into it. Do you understand? That's why people can even rush to BBC or Al Jazeera to say things that they couldn't have called a simple press conference in Nigeria to do. So it will look, the Nigerian media is not good enough, this and that. That is, by the way. The point we are making here is that those people who are recruited to do a job must do it. Pt.3 said that you can promote a man to his level of incompetence. What is happening now, the positive side of it is that when you are called upon to do certain sensitive jobs, you look whether you have the capacity to do it. It's not a question of all the milk that comes out of it. Now there's responsibility with it.
But again, if
there are security chiefs, there is a national security advisor, there is minister of defense. Do you understand? There is chief of defense staff and all that. Nobody is calling anybody. It's Jonathan that should use catapult and go to Medugri. I mean, it is unfair.
Well, Dr. Nnaji, but again, if you look at it, isn't it time for those in authority to now ask themselves such questions you're asking? Because who appoints those that you have said can't even deliver? If you have chosen to put people in places of authority or position based on party affiliation or some kind of patronage from some individuals, maybe in your own political party, when the chips are down, then you take the blame.
On this set, I had said, even before the brouhaha on kidnap, because we had not had that, I had occasion, out of anger, to call on the president himself to bite. That a snake that does not bite will end up as a rope in the hand of an old woman for tying firewood. Because my experience has shown that all the Nigerian elites, what they do once they grab that power and money, they can shout, they can sponsor media campaigns, they can sponsor groups and all that to cause trouble for you. Okay? They can even sponsor people that you can appoint who will be advising you to do things wrongly so that they will now find the opportunity to criticize you. At the end of the day, the buck stops on his desk. At that level, he needs to act. Because if he doesn't act, he too could be consumed in it. I made mention of power, that it was in this country for 14 clear days. There was consistency of electricity beyond all the excuses why things cannot work. What did we get? They asked that the man should be removed. Professor Nnaji. It's not my relation. Although we come from the same states, we have not met. But what is important is that we demonstrated the capacity to give light without excuses. 99 excuses. One reason why things worked. And he went for that. We saw the movement of these Boko Haram people to the fringes of the northeast. For almost 18 months, there was no incidents in Abuja. What did you find? They say, let the chief of army staff then be removed. He was removed. What did we see? How many weeks? Then some people had the temerity and rashness of character to say that the man was committing genocide and they were going to drag him to the international court. Some of these statements, public utterances, we piece them together. We know, we can look at where they are directed. Because out of the abundance of the heart, the mind speaks. It is not possible that you poison somebody and he's dead, and you come, you begin to so eulogize the man. You must show some, some kind of contempt. Even though you were following the crowd and say, he was a nice man. But those who have trained eyes can see the conspiracy in your attitude. So the point you have raised now is valid, and I had foreshadowed that in a previous outing, that the president must act decisively. We have seen that when Abacha was head of state, many people didn't give him any chance. They said he didn't go to school. That it was published that he did not pass some of his exams, promotion exams. Abacha must have told them, you who are professors, by the time I'm through with you, with your professor, and we saw them scampering through, what do they call those borders. They were in Cotonou and calling Abacha names. But okay, come home. Nigerian elites are too mouthy. Some of them are so sinister-minded, because if it does not favor them, then you must bring down the institution. But they are also cowards.
I think we'll go on a break. When we'll come back, we'll look at just solutions to all of this.
Absolutely.
That you have pointed out, because you have actually said a whole lot. The people, they have a blame in this. The government, they also have a blame in this. And ultimately, we still must come together and see how we can get our girls out and stop all of this.
That is the main point. How do we bring them home?